Hi guys, today we are starting a new lesson, lesson 3-3, which is solving equations by adding or subtracting. And please, well, you can't follow along, can you? Because you don't have your books at home. But I have put all the problems on here, so copy them all in your math journal. Remember, this is for you, so you need to take notes and you need to write everything down, okay? So this should be a review of what we did last year, and I think we did a little bit earlier this year too, of solving equations. So we need to look at the variable, and we need to look at whatever's happening to the variable. So there's my variable, and I see that 14 is being added to the variable. So I have to do the opposite. I'm going to subtract 14. But whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So on this side, the 14s cancel out and I just get x equals. And then on the other side, I'm just going to add those numbers together. 25 minus 14, which is 11. And that's it. Let's look at the next one. Again, what's happening to the variable? 4 is being added to the variable, so I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to subtract 4. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. That gets my w alone, which is what I wanted. And now negative 10 minus 4. The signs are the same, so I actually add the numbers. 10 plus 4 is 14. Sorry about that. But the answer keeps the sign because they're both negative. The answer stays negative. Okay? And you can always use your calculator to do those computations as well, or to check your work when you're done. Okay, so now on this one, the variable's on the other side. But that's okay. I'm still looking at what is happening to the variable. I see 20 is being added to the variable, so I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to subtract 20. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. The 20s cancel out and I just get y on that side. And then 16 minus 20, the signs are different, so I subtract the numbers. 20 minus 16 is 4. But the answer takes the sign of the bigger number. 20 is bigger and it's negative, so the answer is negative 4. All right, let's keep going. Again, what is happening to the variable? This time I see that 8 is being subtracted from the variable. When it's being subtracted, I have to do the opposite. So now I'm going to add 8, and whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. The 8s cancel out. 5 plus 8 is 13. N equals 13. And you can always check your work by putting in what you got back into the equation and see if both sides balance or equal each other. So let's try that on this one. I'm going to put the 13 back in where we started at the end. So I get 13 minus 8 equals 5. And then what is 13 minus 8? It's 5. So I got 5 equals 5, which means I did it right, okay? If you don't get the two sides equally each other, then you made a mistake somewhere. Okay, now again, look at what's happening to the variable. 25 is being subtracted from k, so I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to add 25. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. And 30 plus 25 is going to be 55. Like I said, if you're not sure, you can always use your calculator to help you do those computations. All right. What is happening to the variable? 4 is being subtracted, so I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to add 4. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. The 4's cancel out. And negative 18 plus 4 The signs are different, so I subtract. 18 minus 4 is 14. But the answer takes the sign of the bigger number. 18 is negative, so my answer is negative. All right, copy those down and I'll be right back with the next part. All right, so the last two problems that we're going to do today, it says graph the solution of each equation on a number line. So I have drawn a number line and I'm going to show you how to do it. It sounds hard, but it's not, so don't worry. The first thing we're going to do is solve the equation just like we were doing before. So I'm going to look at what's happening to the variable and I'm going to do the opposite. So it's 6 is being subtracted, so I'm going to add 6 to both sides. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So those 6's cancel out. I'm just left with x equals, and remember, don't switch sides with your variable. I know we like to have the variable first on the left side, but if it's on the right, keep it on the right, okay? And then negative 8 plus 6, the signs are different, so I subtract. 8 minus 6 is 2, but the answer takes the sign of the bigger number, which is negative on this one. So x equals negative 2. And now they just want me to graph that on the number line. So all I have to do is plot a point on negative 2 because it's telling me x equals negative 2. And that's it. Okay, so solve and then plot your point. Let's do the same thing on the next one. So I'm going to look at what's happening to the variable and I'm going to do the opposite. So 3 is being subtracted, so I'm going to add 3. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. That leaves me with y equals, and then I have negative 1 plus 3. Signs are different, so I subtract. 3 minus 1 is 2, but the answer takes the sign of the bigger number. 3 is bigger, it's positive, so y equals positive 2. So again, all I do is plot a point on the number line at positive 2. Okay, so here's 2, and there's my point. And I'm going to call this point y, and I'm going to call this other point x. So we know when we look at that graph, x is negative 2, y is positive 2. All right, so that's all for today for the lesson from the book. Whoops, my bad. Copy that down in your journal and I'll be right back. All right, so I wanted to just show you a little bit of IXL today so you knew what you were going to be doing on IXL. And what I like about this one is that if you're not sure what to do, look right here, you can learn with an example. So it literally walks you through step by step telling you how to solve this problem. We look at what's happening to the variable. 2 is being subtracted, so we do the opposite, which is add 2 to both sides, and 9 plus 2 equals 11. All right, so that's pretty cool that it has an example there if you need it. But I recommend for this one, just write these down in your math journal or on a whiteboard if you have a whiteboard at home. Because if you try to do them in your head, you will probably start getting them wrong. So instead of wasting your time or getting frustrated, just jot them down. It won't take very long. And that way you make sure you get the answer right. So on this one, g minus 19 equals 1. So I see 19 is being subtracted. I'm going to do the opposite, which is add 19 to both sides. 19 plus 1 is going to equal 20. All right, again, 10 is being subtracted, so do the opposite. 4 plus 10 is going to be 14. And then we're going to add 7 also, so 3 plus 7 is 10. And I'm just going to jump a level and see if we get into anything that would be complicated. Okay, so it looks like it's just getting into bigger numbers the higher your score goes. So again, use your calculator for this and you'll be fine. Remember, just look at what's happening to that variable, do the opposite to both sides, and then you'll find out what the answer is. Okay? So let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.